This is Rare on Purpose, Identity Coaching with Floyd. Look, most people spend their lives trying to become somebody, but the real work is in remembering who you already are. Life has been training you the whole time. Through pressure, setbacks, the moments you thought were breaking you. Every episode, I'm gonna break down identity, leadership, and the mindset of the rare ones. Cause the strongest leaders, and they don't follow the crowd, they move rare on purpose. Listen, most people are not tired because they're doing too much. Most people are tired because they're doing work that their system is not indexed for. Look, I've been working on databases for half of my life now. And I always wonder, as a storyteller, why did I end up there? How did I end up in data? And people have asked me that too, like, how'd that happen, man? It seemed like it was just kind of like natural, like organic. It's just so much. And I realize this now, so much of understanding data is the same as understanding self, understanding life, understanding your brain. And for a lot of people I coach, man, they're tired. They're exhausted. They're feeling some burnout. But I was creeping up on this realization, man. And I really want to hit y'all with this because I think it's so pertinent right now and so relevant to what everybody's going through. You are running full table scans on your life. That's why everything feels expensive. Let me explain, right? Obviously, I'm a data expert. This is what I built my career on. I've been working in data, like I said, over 20 years. In a database, an index determines the data that's easiest to access. Right? I want us to remember this in this conversation. An index, right? It determines what data is easiest to access. And to all my folks out there who are not data experts, I want you to consider your first finger, your pointer finger, the one that we use the most, or some people use the most, the one that people who are not super vulgar use the most. It's actually called the index finger. And the reason it's called the index finger is because it's pointing to things. It's the easiest to get you to make somebody look at it, to access things. It points directly to it. All right. So in a database, an index is doing that same thing, right? It's determining the data that's easiest to access. But it doesn't determine all the data that exists, right? Like you have other fingers. And when you point to something, there's other things there. You're pointing to one thing. The other things don't cease to exist. An index in a database is just what's fast. It's the data. It's the part of the data that's fast. Everything else is still there. It just takes more effort to retrieve that other stuff, right? It's the same with you. You have access to all of your abilities, every strength, right? I know I'm a big proponent of the high five test, the high five strengths assessment. And then when we take that high five test, it shows us our top 20 to 25 strengths, right? In order. You have all of those strengths, right? My number one strength is storyteller. My number two strength is coach. My number three strength is empathizer, then thinker, right? So yes, those are the things I'm indexed for. My number 25 strength, all the way at the bottom, is timekeeper. Doesn't mean I can't do that. Doesn't mean that it's impossible for me to succeed at it. No. It just means that when I try to be a storyteller or a coach, that's going to be faster. That's going to be lighter, less of a burden, more natural to execute. Why? Because my brain has indexed those to the top. It physically exists in an area that's accessible, easily accessible. I can still go get the timekeeper strength. It just costs me more. Just like in a database, you can write a query to access any of the data there. You can get all of the data, but some of it costs you more, right? So like I said, number one strength for me, storyteller. What does that mean? That means when I receive information, like if somebody just gives me a data dump, here's the this data and this data for this year and that data for that year, I don't process that too well, right? I have to convert it into a story. That's the fastest path for me, right? And actually, I'm going to talk about that in our next episode. But for right now, I just want to talk about the fact that that is my index: storyteller, coach, empathizer. It makes me able to galvanize folks really easily. I can tell a story and help you understand your strength and galvanize you to do something about it all in one. It's really easy for me to do. That's a natural thing for me to do. I can dig down into those other ones, right? If I can operate outside of that top three, I can still do it, but it might take a little bit longer and it's going to definitely drain more energy, and that creates friction. Now, if you look at how, and I just want to say, I've worked really hard the last 5 years of my life, really 10 years of my life, to rearrange where my energy goes out so that my queries are optimized. Most of the work I'm doing is optimized to what I'm indexed for, right? If you look at how a lot of folks build their lives and how I had before that 10-year span, it's basically we just take the hand that's dealt to us, right? You know, we go to college, we hope that somebody believes we're good. Deep down inside, we don't really believe that we're that good. So we go off on these job interviews, and the moment somebody says you're good enough and we'll pay you X, we jump at it. And we just start doing the thing, right? It doesn't matter if we're indexed for it. We accept roles that require strengths we're not indexed for. Now, I get it. All of us have had to do that earlier in our career, but that's not sustainable. It's not sustainable to structure your day around activities that are expensive for you to even execute. The result is burnout. But it's not really burnout. It's just inefficiency. It's inefficient. The database queries are not optimized. If your lowest strength is something like time management, like me, but your entire day depends on precision scheduling, tracking, and constant coordination, you're forcing your system to operate at maximum cost. Maximum. Every task requires more compute, more effort, more recovery. Your weekends become, man, so vital that they're always going to be too short. And then you repeat that loop over and over again. So listen, you don't need more discipline. You need a better query. Your life is producing exactly what your design supports. But if the output feels off, then the structure is off. So here's what you should do. Optimization starts here. Identify what you are indexed for. That's one of the things that I help folks do when I coach them. We start with them taking a strengths assessment. Identify what you're indexed for, and then start to restructure your life so that those strengths are carrying the load, right? That means, how do you solve problems? How do you communicate? How do you lead? How do you make decisions? Don't remove responsibility. No, you can take on a lot. You can handle a lot. You can work really hard. All of that is great, and you will do it. But change what you're aiming at. Change where your index finger is pointing. Take on the same workload. Actually, you'll probably be able to get more accomplished because there's less effort and less strain attached to it. There's a different cost, right? One of the things I know, if you are operating, like for me, I come to the table in any job interview. I know I'm a storyteller. I'm a coach. I'm an empathizer. I'm a thinker. I come to the table with that, I know. So anytime I can operate in those capacities, not only is it going to be easier for me, but I'm highly likely to succeed. Highly likely to succeed. And then I'm highly likely to bring impact to the organization. So it's really a win-win. So listen, if your life feels expensive right now, that's probably not random. It's structural. And structure can be changed, though. That's the good news. But that's also the work. So look, most people do not have a discipline problem. What they have is a design problem. So if your life requires you to operate in strengths that you're not indexed for, everything's going to feel harder than it should. It's going to be more effort, more fatigue, more friction. The same work, a higher cost. If that's you, look, you're not broken. You're running a bad query. And this is what I coach for. So if you're interested in trying to take that step forward, I suggest you go to rareonpurpose.com or just go out to Leland, look up my name in the search, and take a look at the packages that I'm offering. Yo, I really appreciate y'all checking in with me. Thanks for joining me. Next time, we're going to talk a little bit more about that storytelling strength. I want to lean more into my number one strength. All right, y'all. Peace. Thanks for listening to Rare on Purpose. If this episode helped you remember something about yourself, share it with somebody you know that you think really needs to hear it. And if you're a leader trying to reconnect with who you really are and lead from that place, look, that's the work that I do through Rare on Purpose coaching. You can go out to my website, rareonpurpose.com, or you can just tap into Leland Coaching and search for J. Floyd. Until next time, y'all, remember who you are and move rare on purpose.